CDC's greatest hits.
CDC.
Hey! Now available with proof of vaccination.
You've been fast and strong.
You'll get all-time classics like
I got the jam. It's been too long. I'm glad to be fast. Yes, I got the juice. I took two. Tell me, Dr. Fauci, what you want me to do, cause I'm fast.
Enter to win a signed copy of the album by Brian Johnson & Johnson.
I took a fast vaccine during quarantine. It was the worst damn shakes I have ever seen. I'm number
Legendary hits like
quarantine for just 2 weeks. Stay away from me for just 6 feet. CDC will tell you lies. CDC and ignore all your cries. Hell's bells. Oh, Angus, are you alright? A palsy. Oh, you're shaking. You're shaking. Hell's bells. Somebody call a doctor. Where's Fauci? A palsy. Dr. Fauci, hello. Hell's bells. Hello. Dr. Fauci. A palsy. Hello.
The American Death Slave.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the American Debt Slave. If you like that intro video, I'm really excited because that guy, I have seen this guy on a couple of different podcasts that I watched. They reference his video, and I think it was on Jeff Berwick and Max Egan, two of my favorite podcasters that I've been listening to for years. He actually, surprisingly, is a subscriber of mine, listened to my last video, and it seemed to really talk and resonate with him. And I told anyone that this resonates with to, reach out, tell me your story about what changed since the pandemic and the trauma that we're all experiencing, just kind of give your 2 cents on it. And he reached out and wanted to do a little interview. So please welcome to the show, Christopher Crumb from Don't Follow Crumb. Christopher,
Thank
welcome.
You. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I've been a subscriber of yours for quite some time. I don't remember which video it was, but something really spoke to me probably about a year ago. And so I've been on Odyssey. Yeah, I've been checking out your stuff for a while. And great job, man.
Thanks, man. I really just started it as as for fun. And it wasn't something that, as practice. And this is what I like to do. I've been red pilled since the 90s. And it's just, I can't believe everything my father told me has come true.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
I can't believe everything my father told me is a lie, to be honest.
He doesn't believe the earth is flat, but
I don't know. He still believes in the moon landing and all this shit. So,
right. Typical baby boomer, but
right.
Yeah, no, he made me read the IRS code when I was a kid before Friday night parties in high school. He locked me in my room for about an hour and he throws down the 2 books of the IRS code and says, go ahead and find the definition of income. I'll wait. Locks the door. And then he comes back an hour later. Did you find it? No, exactly. Now go to your party.
That's awesome, man. I wish I mean, that kind of stuff when you're a kid is like, oh, great, Dad's trying to, just let me have my candy and my, my fun. Right. But yeah, then when you get older, you're like, holy shit. Like when I found out that I could send a letter for 2 cents, basically proving, and it worked, basically proving that that this is, there's the post office and the postal service and when I'm like, holy shit, I could literally send mail for if I put a 2 cent stamp and I put it in the old school way. Like I started going down the rabbit hole, man. And income, I didn't know what income was until like a year ago. And I was like, wait a minute, that just means I'm using their Federal Reserve notes.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what it is? I actually don't know. But
yeah, all I know is my father revoked and rescinded his social security number and got out of the system over 20 years ago. And he lived off cash, gold, silver, whatever. And he told me, Chris, if you make a bunch of money, pay them because you'll still have money left. But if you're making less than 50 and you're giving half your income, a third of your income away, plus you're getting taxed on inflation and sales tax and property tax and this tax and that tax, you got to keep some of it or else you're just not going to survive.
Oh yeah, it's by design. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, that's cool. That's a hard life though,
It's tough. It is tough, bro. Yeah, that is the only thing that's inhibiting me from buying a house is that, and I can't get traditional financing. So you have to get rich. You have to
yeah,
become a
exactly.
millionaire
Yeah. I mean, like,
and
cause even
buy
if
it
you
and put it
buy
into a
it,
trust fund. Right.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're gonna like have to pay. You don't really own it. They say if you don't pay property tax, they take it away. So
Yeah.
I mean, if I gave you this guitar and said, "Hey, it's yours. You just got to give me $5 for the rest of your life," it's a burden more than anything. And
Exactly. Exactly. I
yeah,
mean, why don't they tax our clothes if I don't pay, tax on my shirt here? What are you going to take it off
well,
me?
not
And I'm
yet.
going to
Not
freeze?
until that shirt might cause global warming next month. So you never
Right.
know.
Right. I can't believe they want to tax us for breathing, man.
I know.
For
I know. And
breathing. Huh?
I know. It's almost like they're doing it just to be comical at this point. Like I think they really want us to know that this is ridiculous. It's like, come on, guys, how did you not see it yet? We're charging you to breathe.
I swear it's almost like they're trying to push our buttons to get a reaction out of us.
That's
And
what it
we're
feels
just
like.
we're just not doing anything. We're like, we got Netflix. I got Amazon. I
Yeah,
still got food. Nothing's going to change until there's no more food. And
big time.
when that actually happens, man, you got to put up some barbed wire, get to know your neighbors, because either join a gang or kill or be killed. I mean, Mad
Yeah.
Max scenario. And I don't know if that is what we're going into. So, I just wanted to discuss what exactly was it about my last video that resonated with you, and what did you want to share about my audience? Do you think we're going into a new world order takeover or a new world order takedown?
Okay. Okay. So, when 2020 hits, I was already red pilled. I've already started following all of this stuff. I don't believe in the current cosmology of our world. So I've been in that deep into the deception. So like I've kind of prepared myself, and it's like I like to think that I can kind of see, like once you see the lie, you don't unsee it, you don't believe any of it, and it just felt like narcissistic abuse, to be honest. Which I was just getting out of a relationship that had that, and so it was fresh on my mind. I'm like, oh, that's the same thing that girl did. Damn it, and so I saw it like as soon as we shut down, and I saw all my friends start screaming on Facebook like, you're selfish, and I'm like, this is insane. Like, how do you guys not? And, I'm saying it's just 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh my God, we're giving up everything in front of my eyes, like going through it, like knowing that this was never going to go back then was tough because I calculated it and I'm like, there's just no way. It's impossible. And here's a thing that you and your dad will appreciate. As soon as they locked us down, I got a bill. I was looking at my bills for all my utilities, and it said, because we're all in this together, we're not going to turn off any of it and you just pay us back when you can, when it's over. And I'm thinking, these fucking idiot, like a lot of people will, but I'm never paying a utility again. It's been 2 years because I've accumulated so much on my bills. I knew they would never get rid of them, or they would never like disconnect, because what do they expect me to do? Pay $6,000 now for 2 years of electricity? They won't do it. And I knew they wouldn't. And it just proves my point. So I don't pay bills anymore.
Well, what are you going to do about money and bills and...
I've never really liked paying bills. I don't think I'm going to do that either.
At all. Like literally, I think if somebody like paid their bill once in the last 2 years, that gets off the table. But like as soon as I'm like, they're never gonna ask me for this money because I know this is never going away. And so I sat there and I was where I was at. I'm in this band called Jelly of the Month Club. We performed a lot in Southern California for like Disney and there's other parks, Knott's Berry Farm, and basically we were half the band were basically like old dudes from like the Sublime era of my town.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah. The drummer actually is the original drummer of Sublime. Like he's the one that started it, and the horn player. And so I became friends with him. We started a band to cater to not just kids, like make good music, but like educational and didn't drive parents crazy. So it was cool. I've been writing songs with these guys that are really good for 8 years. We were about to actually land a deal with Disney for a show. They kept coming to our shows. It was really good. And then I just shut down. And I just was just like, I tried my best to go along with it. It's just gonna come back and continue. Basically, it felt like we were on like a boat and we're going to Hawaii. You know, everybody's on a path. We all have my life plan. Okay, cool. I'm going this way. And then all of a sudden you see Hawaii blow up. Like, what's the point of going this way anymore? You know, that's the way I looked at it.
That's a great way to describe it.
Yeah, but nobody else was acknowledging it or even recognized it. So I'm like, I'm not going to continue to go to Hawaii. It's gone. It's blew up. Like, I have to do something else. Like, it seems pointless. You know, like, music industry was non-existent for like 2 years. And, you know, even like when it was open, I just couldn't sit there and tell people they couldn't dance, or just to watch people with a mask. It took away the whole joy of it. So, I'm like, well, there's a lot of things that I know. And I started watching, you know, I've been a fan of Berwick for a long, long time, but when I saw what he was doing and these other, you know, people that were really, really creative and finding really great ways to let people know that, you know, like seeing reality here in a way that was palatable and not doom and gloomy, adding some comedy, like Media Bear with his "I Wear My Face Mask in My Car" song. And
I wear my face mask in my car so I can virtue signal in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, yeah, and everything JP, Waking with JP did,
Yeah.
like just making a mockery of it. I found like the most healing from that. And when I looked into it more, it seems like in history, whenever there's like a totalitarian like takeover, like mockery is one of the most damaging things to that. And so I decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put all my money into all this money that they're giving me from the government. I'm going to put it into privacy coins, specifically pirate.
Yeah.
I didn't pay any bills, so I put about $6,000 into that. And then, you know, I spent some time trying to like figure out how to like do live streaming and learn all that kind of stuff, but not really know what I was doing. Educating myself as much as I could about what was going on in the world, and really learning how to talk to people about it without triggering them. Because I realized that like talking to people directly, like showing them, hey, like a month ago they said don't wear a mask, and now they're saying wear two. Like, can we agree that at least something's off? No matter how, if I talk to them like directly, I was getting nowhere. So I'm like, shit, like, okay, what do I got? What can I do? What have I dedicated my life to? And that's music and a little bit of comedy and truth. Those are the three things that just like I've always been obsessed with. And so I've just basically spent the remainder of the pandemic, like, you know, luckily I didn't have to pay bills, and they were giving us money for staying at home. That was nice. And I just basically just invested it and use that time and just contemplate every day, like, what can I do? Like, I would love to contribute to making content to help people not feel afraid or not feel alone, that doesn't doom and gloom them. Because yeah, I was, you know, I tried so hard to just talk to people about but they would get triggered. They would just immediately just spin it off. It's like, oh, you're a grandma killer. Oh, you're selfish if you don't shut down. You're gonna kill my grandma. And I'm like, oh my God. And so luckily, like, so I tried a lot of things, and then I came up with I started live streaming once a week on my first Mr. Crumb channel, and it was growing. And then I said some things I wasn't allowed to say, and I got taken down. And then my next Crumb channel, that was when I posted my AC/DC video. I had 34 subscribers, and I went to 1,000 subscribers in a day because High Impact Flicks sent a bunch of people there, and Jeff Berwick. for playing that video, and it was awesome. And for a while, I was streaming there, and you know, like I kind of accomplished my first goal because that video says a lot of truth, and I can't even lefties that are brainwashed can't get mad at it. They were even saying like, this offends me, but I still can't help like it. And then I'm like, okay, well, this is helpful. This seems like something I can do for the counter resistance or the resistance. And I don't know. I mean, Hawaii blew up, so I'm like, well, maybe this is it, you know? And that's pretty much it. Like, just trying to offer like some sort of honest and just mockery of it, like, and show that I'm like, I've gone through some of these stages. I've gone through the sadness. I've gone through like a lot of the grief and acceptance of what this pandemic represents. And once I did that, like, I know I just felt the urge to kind of use whatever time and resources I have to kind of, you know, fight it. And so that video did really well. And I haven't really done much. I haven't had as much success since, but I have been releasing things like a song about taking off your mask that I released recently, and little things like a song about trusting the science. Just, you know, Dr. Fauci's like flopping back and forth. And at the same time, just learning how to like video edit as I go, like kind of slowly getting better while kind of building a following of some sort within the truth community. But, you know, like, it's really, I don't really know exactly what I'm doing. I'm just kind of doing it day by day, like what works. But, you know, I don't know. I didn't plan on 2020. But I was realistic, I think, enough. I knew it wasn't going to get shut. I knew we weren't going back. And even now, even though you're right, what your video, I'm sorry I'm talking so much, but your video said something like, it doesn't feel like it's back. And that's what spoke to me the most, because I'm like, it doesn't. We're all just full of shit. Like, we're walking around acting like, hey, it's back. It's not the same energy. And it's nice to know that other people recognize that.
It's almost like we're walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
Like we're waiting for our next abuse or for our next spanking. You know, like we just got our asses whooped, and it's like, oh crap, okay, he's, you know, the abuser or whatever, your father, your mother, whatever you want to call it, the abuser, whoever it is, you know, traumatizing us, okay, they stopped, they seem to be cool, they're not drinking at the moment, thank God. Can we play with our toys again?
Exactly.
You know? You know, and it's just like, all right, be quiet though, be quiet. We can't wake them up. We don't want to get them upset. So put on our mask and just be quiet, keep your head down, don't talk to anybody. Because I still feel like something else is coming, like bad.
Oh, it has to.
Dude, I mean, I'm sorry, but all these people are coming up on my Bluetooth. And that's a for real deal, man. And that scares the living crap out of me.
I think that was what it was when I first found you, actually. Really quick.
Man, dude, my friend.
Because I went through that rabbit hole too. Yeah.
Okay, my friend got the Pfizer shot. I'm like, don't get that shot. She's like, oh, I'm not. Don't worry, I'm not going to get it. I'm like, okay, good. And then like a week later, I got the shot. Like, why'd you do that? Why'd you do? Well, they told me I for my job, my job.
No, they turn into a robot almost. They're like, well, why would the government? It's like like a script just, I've seen it a million times. I know.
And so when she got the shot, you know, I have some videos, if you look back, you know, a little magnet stuck to her. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. Then, you know, 2 weeks later, whatever, she got the second shot. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I took the cell phone to her, and now it's part of my intro. And I'm like, it literally stuck to her, dude. I'm like, I'm freaking the hell out. And the first video I did where they're all chipped, has a couple thousand views. I was literally, that was the first time I pulled it up. I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen these numbers before in my life. You know, and I'm wondering, it's like still now, I mean, I pull it up on my phone and there's a couple miscellaneous codes, and I'm wondering if I'm one of them now, because I've been around the vaxxed people too, you know, even at Float Fest, when I went down to Float Fest, I was thinking all these hippies, you know, they didn't get the vax. Oh yeah, they did. There was a couple.
Oh, for sure they did. Yeah.
I'm like, what on earth, man?
It was really hard not to. I mean, like, you have to be pretty independent and like self-sustainable, like I mean, most people like gave in. Most people gave in, unfortunately. I don't know if most, but it seemed like a lot, like more than I would. I don't know. But can I say something about the magnet thing? That was where I realized how powerful the okay, so basically like I was getting kind of like strikes here and there. When the magnet thing happened, I mirrored a video by Tim Truth and we became friends way later, but I mirrored the video, the compilation of all the TikTok things, right? And I'm like, oh my God, people gotta see this. I uploaded it to YouTube. The second I did, it was blasting with views. Incredible. It was like people were looking for it, but there wasn't on it. And so all of a sudden I'm just seeing in my comments, I've never seen anything like this. What is this? Oh my God, this is amazing. And the video's gone in 30 minutes. Then,
Wow.
I know, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wait, what the hell? This is weird. And so I realized that like they weren't really playing by the rules. They were, it was so damaging to their narrative. And that like I kept trying to show like, hey, it's just a person putting a magnet on it. Like nothing was allowed on YouTube. I went obsessed with it. I lost 2 channels because of that. And I even like I did the experiment on one of my guitar students. And she was like, oh yeah, I feel it. It's right there. If you put it there. And I'm like, oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, the magnet thing was big and I don't know. That was like, I don't know if I was more crazy then or now. I'm like,
It was, that was like, I would say in the middle of the abuse, in the middle of the trauma as well. And,
Yeah.
you know, like you said, when they first started this out, they started it on the Ides of March, on March 15th, 2020.
Mhm.
And right when this came out, I'm like, oh, hell no, this is going to be like a motherfucker that owed you $20 since high school.
Yes.
This is not good. And my ex, she's like, I'm like, listen, they're about to shut everything down. And my friends are freaking out, think it's a virus. I'm like, no, it's the economy. It's the economy. My father said in the 90s, if they ever wanted to switch currencies, they'd have to shut down the economy for at least 6 months. It's like,
Yeah, I remember
why?
saying that.
It's like we cannot have commerce moving, you know, with the same dollars, with the same currency. It has to be stopped for a moment and things have to be re-registered and switched over. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell, Dad? You know, I'm like, that's scary. So,
Yeah.
but then, you know, Trump, when he lost the election or got stolen, I guess, but
So blatantly.
And then so Trump lost the election in November, and the last bill that he signed was that, I think it was the spending bill or the stimulus bill or something. And in that bill, they added the vapes and vape juice to the PACT Act. And I had vaporpalace.com for about 8 years. And that was a wonderful business. And then all of a sudden, just like that, I'm out of business in April 21. So I've just been kind of living off savings and shooting podcasts and thinking, what's my next move? Where is this going to go? You know, I want to make a move, but I'm also afraid that we're just going to get shut down again, or I'm afraid gas is going to go to $10. And so what's the point of working and trying hard to get ahead if it's not even worth it? You know?
Right. Yeah. It's
not-
hard to have a profit motive when there's so
Right.
much like more at stake. Yeah.
Right. And it's like if in the movie They Live, okay, and he's holding that dollar bill and he puts on the glasses and it's like, this is your God. And so if we're working so hard for this God that we're worshiping and all of a sudden this God is worthless, what do we do now?
Yeah.
What do we do?
That's going to be tough. That's a very good point, because I've never really let money get me to that. I'm not very motivated. Like, I don't know. It doesn't crack the whip on me. I have to like do it because I want to, but it's hard, you know, like I don't think most people are ready for that. And it's a powerful motivator. Personally, for me, if I'm doing something for money, I just do a half-ass job and it kind of ruins it for me.
Yeah.
But also like I got to eat sometimes, and I don't know. And but you're absolutely right. Like it's going to seem silly when we're going into work when like, hey, yeah, but for $80 when, you know, it costs $1,000 for a loaf of bread, and like,
Yeah.
and if it moves too fast, it's that's my biggest fear too, is that I'm not using this time wisely, and I don't want to have any regrets
Yeah.
when the inevitable kind of happens.
Yeah. And I don't know, because the dollar is going to implode. It's going to end. I don't know what they're going to announce after that. I am so fearful of this CBDC and how they want to how they put cell phones in everybody's hands. And it took me a long time to get a smartphone, man. I was like, I do not want to get addicted to that thing. I see everybody just walking around with their heads down in them, and I'm just like, I like my little Nokia. And it took me about the end of 2013 to finally break down and get like a shitty smartphone. But I did. And, you know, I've been addicted ever since. All the little apps and games. And it's a very, very addictive. I haven't even downloaded TikTok on my phone. Absolutely not. No way.
Do not.
One, I don't want China's already spying on this Zoom call right now. I don't want having everything on my phone. And there's privacy phones you can get to, but, you know, it doesn't have Google. So you can't really, you know, what's the point?
I know you have to have Google to have a phone, and then the Google has to know everything. I've looked into that too. I do everything on my computer mostly though, and just don't really use my phone and try to use desktop apps. So like, you know, but like, I completely know. And everybody just assumes that now it's like, if I don't get back to somebody right away, that like, because everybody else is addicted to their phone, like now that's a standard that I have to like be subservient to. And like, no one asked me, I didn't sign a contract saying I would do that, but it's like, we're like, me and you, people like me and you are like, there's not enough of us for anybody to give a shit. We're like, we don't want the phone. Like, they're like, fuck you.
Right. And you know, I don't know how old you are, but you know,
I'm 39.
Okay, I'm 40. So you remember when text messages cost 10 cents?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So and I when these grammar Nazis came out, like, you didn't spell that right. I'm like, what are you talking about? You guys, you're supposed to drop the vowels. It's T9.
Yeah. You don't like, what do you like a Rockefeller over there? like you know,
people were getting $16,000 phone bills because of the text messages, and they're realizing that, hey, you know, people are texting more than they're calling after 7 p.m. when it's free. And I guess we'll have to like stop doing this. But man, they made a bunch of money with that. But yeah, these kids don't know anything about, like, you know, how that's the bad thing. My nephews who are like 17, you know, they don't they have no reference point of freedom. Like pre 9/11.
We're the last ones that remember when there was no internet.
Yeah.
We were kids, you know, I remember there was a time when the phone rang. I had no idea who it was. You know, and you can go places and people would just assume that they couldn't get a hold of you, and they were fine with that. And
and you just check your messages when you get home, you know. Jesus, man, the good old days. I tell you what,
we gave it all up. I know.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it. Yeah. It's a car phone too. My dad told me that. That's one thing. He said he got a car phone. And I remember in the car with him, and my mom called him just to bitch at him about something. And he's like, God, the car was my last. He's like, what have I done? I gave up my last. And
yes, that is exactly what my dad said growing up. He's like, the car is your last place of freedom. Like, it's your last place that no one knows where you are, who you are, or where you're going. And it's just when my dad got the car phone too. And even when I got a pager, you know, I think I was like, you know, 15 years old when I got a pager, and the only people that paged me were my parents. And I was like, this is like a leash. I don't want this. This is horrible. I just threw it away. I'm like, $36 a month. I ain't paying that. No way.
Yeah.
No way.
I had one of those too. I just thought it looked cool, but it really wasn't. It
wasn't
asking me where I was all the time.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it was. I'm like, I don't know if I like this, you know.
Well, think about kids now. They can't even throw high school kegers. Like, their houses probably have like so many smart cameras everywhere. Try being like, yeah, sure, guys, go to Yosemite for the weekend. Your house is gonna be fine. Back in the day, that house was destroyed. But these kids don't even know what it's like to even fathom. Like, maybe we can get away with it. They have to be like, there's no way we can get away with it. We'll just do what this says. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Like, I didn't think about that. That's a really good point. The parents are always spying on their kids.
Yeah, they got like a door in the doorbell, like, or I mean, a camera in the doorbell. Like, they're gonna know.
Like, when they started putting those up everywhere, and I'm like, I can't even drive around anonymously anymore. Someone's picking, like, Amazon's picking it up, Google's picking it up. I mean, what? That's kind of like, that's a little freaky, man. Cameras are everywhere.
And you
would think that you know, us growing up with like Back to the Future and stuff, it's like, where's my hoverboard? Where's my flying cars? Where's the cures for disease? Where's our engines that run off water? All these environmentalists are talking about, oh, you need to slow your carbon footprint. Have you ever thought about asking a different question? Like, can we come up with a cleaner technology that just burns water?
Yeah, exactly. Like
or
this,
free energy? Anybody?
There.
You know, have you ever looked into thorium?
What's that?
Dude, look up thorium. They were developing that around the nuclear days in the 40s and 50s. And thorium is a how can you say, non-radioactive isotope. Okay, so if it does get like overblown and you know you have a blown up generator or whatever in the plant, it solidifies and goes back to its original form if it's ever exposed. So it's totally safe, and you can run like a whole lifetime of thorium on like 1 gram per person.
Yeah, that's so damaging to the power structures.
Yeah. I mean,
I looked into how to like make my own gas. It's been a trending search on Google. I'm like, oh, I just gotta distill some like brewer's yeast and make my own ethanol. I'm like, I could do this,
right? Right.
But you know, but like, yeah, you're right. Like, it's silly. There was like the first. Can I ask you, like, do you know what the year the first year they invented the electric car? Do you know what that was?
Oh, late 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah. It was like 1850, like way before the combustible engine.
Wow.
I always thought it was like, I don't know, 20 years ago. And I looked into it, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, it's insane.
You know, even with the electric car, you know, you can think you could have your passengers pedal to charge up the battery while you're driving.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even like, why, like our wheels are moving. We can like generate more energy like by putting something on the wheel or having make some turbines in the car spin. You're already going this way. Just like there's a million different ways we can actually, but we don't. We're like, it's just gas and we can't figure it out. Like,
right. And that's the thing. We're all pampered and we're all like taken care of, that we don't be the change we want to see. You know, we're
sitting around like, why haven't they given it to us yet? Kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like, because you have to invent it. You have a garage, right? Go invent it. Well, it's called reading, huh? But I have to go to school for that to read. Dude, you know how to read. So just read a book on engineering and you're an engineer.
There's the internet. It's better than any college. Just if you want to learn something, you'll figure it. I know. They're like, oh, I got to go to college to go get my. No, you don't. That's the last place you go to like learn how to do shit.
Yeah.
You know, like there was what's his name, Stan Meyerson. He invented a car that run on water, but he was suicided. And I mean, I think there's probably been a lot of attempts. But I wouldn't tell anybody. I would invent it, and then I would be like, "Hey, my neighbor, look what I did here."
Yes.
And then then I would say, "I would make your car free if you showed one other person."
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, that is exactly what I was. You wouldn't tell nobody. Just go do it, walk it, don't talk it, and go fix other people's cars. You know, there's a video. We got about 3 minutes left, 3 minutes, 20 seconds left. But there's a video I should upload to this channel. About 10 years ago, me and my brother, we took a gallon of gas, just a plastic gallon of gas, and we made a bong out of it. And we took out the chip from the car and we ran the gas and we bubbled it and put it right into the intake. And it ran off vapor and got 100 miles a gallon. The problem was it was running too rich. So you needed to get that balance in. I'm not an engineer. I don't know how to do that.
Look how far you went, like just barely even trying to, like, you solved like a basic world problem with like nothing. It's not hard.
Nothing but a YouTube video that I copied. Yeah. And I was like, let's see if this works. I'm bored. Okay, cool. Wow, it does. Oh, you're putting it in drive. Holy shit. It really is driving. Oh, wow. You know, if we rig this up right, we could probably get some really good stuff. This is awesome. But maybe I should actually do an episode on that and try to figure out that, because that, if you could do that to even a generator for your house, you can make that gas run so much further and, you know, charge your house a lot longer.
I got a car that the engine runs, but the transmission sucks. So when the power went out one time, I just put an inverter on it. I turned the car on, put an inverter on it, and I was the only house on the block that had electricity. And there's always that. You can always like just put like a little inverter on the car battery. It might not be good for the converter, but who cares? Like, yeah, like there are ways. It's just like
Right.
it's not as complicated probably. But you got to kind of care. You got to kind of enjoy that kind of stuff though.
Right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Well, listen, we got about 90 seconds left.
Oh shit.
So,
Oh shoot. Sorry.
yeah. So why don't we just cut it short? I don't have the actual, Zoom account. So go ahead and what are your videos? What do you what exactly, where can people find you?
Yeah, on YouTube, Don't Follow Crumb, and then also on Rockfin, I just got on there, and that's been really cool. I usually do a lot more stuff I can't talk about on YouTube. Every Friday, and starting next week, every Sunday, I do a live stream called Strike a Chord, where we play games like like Mad Libs, and I'll play some music, but we also do some truth and really interactive. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, and I just try out some stuff and talk to like a bunch of people who get it, just like you. They're all just trying to find like high vibes and just chill, hang out chats with people that
Cool.
aren't brainwashed pretty much.
Cool. All right. Well, hey, thanks for joining us, and I hope to have you back on the show sometime soon.
Anytime. Yeah.
All right, cool. Thanks a lot. Take care, Chris.
Take care, brother.